Have you heard? It's truck news.
What? No.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel, electricity, and on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
It's the Truck Show with your host, Holman.
Welcome back to the Truck Show, coming to you from the Pod Shed in Huntington Beach, California. This is another episode of Have You Heard Truck News? And before we get into it, we have to thank our sponsors. The Truck Show podcast is proudly brought to you in partnership with AMSOIL, makers of the best synthetics and the same ones we use in our rigs. And did you know AMSOIL is more than just synthetic oil? They also make some of the finest lubricants, greases, additives, filters, car care products, and yes, even merch. So right now, if you spend $100 or more, you can get yourself AMSOIL's 3-pack of shop rags by using the code RAGS826, and that's good until August 25th. We use AMSOIL products to protect our rigs. You can do the same by heading to AMSOIL.com or by using our link at truckshowpodcast.com and going under the featured products tab. And if you want to treat yourself to the latest in adventure, gear, and upgrades for your vehicle, go to OVRmag.com and use the code at truckshowpodcast for a discount on a 1-year print subscription or a 1-year access to our digital library for free. The Truck Show podcast survives off sponsorships and your reviews. Please help me to keep it free by supporting our sponsors and leaving reviews and comments on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Have you heard?
No, it's not that. It's knee. No, knee. You're not doing it properly. Knee. Knee, that's it. You've got it.
So we've been talking about the Ford Ranchero, or have we? That would be Ford's sub-Maverick EV pickup truck, although it's not that much smaller than the Maverick. And the reason I say have we been talking about it is because Ford officially announced the name, and it's not Ranchero. What? So Ford would like you to get to know the all-new Ford Fathom. And they're calling it a midsize truck when the rest of us consider it compact. And it'll start at $28,350 and $29,945 with Ford's $1,595 destination charge. Pre-orders will open in early 27, and then customer deliveries will be later in 27. And Ford says that prototype production is beginning at its reworked Louisville assembly plant during the first quarter of 2027. And the Fathom is a pretty big deal because it'll be the first vehicle that's based on Ford's new universal electric vehicle platform. And so it was designed to make EVs less expensive, simpler to manufacture. And so instead of doing your typical assembly line like you've known since the Model T, Ford has this new production process, and it builds the vehicle in sections. And so there's large aluminum castings, fewer individual parts, and then all of those pieces come together at the end of the assembly line. So if you can imagine, a truck would get different outer ends, but maybe the same middle end as a car, for example. And that way, it's very modular. And despite the pricing, Ford is saying the Fathom is not going to be bare bones. It's going to have a 5-passenger cabin with more room than a Toyota RAV4. And then cargo can be carried both in the pickup bed, and there will be a frunk. And then standard equipment will include things like a high-resolution touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Apple Maps-based navigation, a digital key, bidirectional power capability. And that would allow your truck to power external equipment. So every Fathom will also have the hardware necessary for Ford's Blue Cruise, which is the hands-free highway driving system. But that doesn't mean they'll all get it. You'll have to probably pay for a subscription. I think a subscription today is like $2,500 or something like that, or the upgrade, I can't remember. So the truck's going to have a lithium iron phosphate battery. Ford hasn't announced the capacity or the horsepower or the towing or the payload or range. That's all to come. Hey, just be happy we got the name, all right? It's the Fathom. But Ford's saying that this is going to be a genuine midsize pickup truck with midsize pickup truck capability and not just an inexpensive EV with a bed. And it sounds pretty exciting. Here's the thing that I kind of took from it is at right under $30,000, it's pretty close to where the Slate truck is, except it's not bare bones. You get like a real truck with a real dealer network and a screen and all the digital stuff. So maybe if you just want the simple truck, you'll pay that for the Slate. But if you want a more modern vehicle, you've got the option with the Fathom, but that's fine. You know, I think choices are good. So the other question is, how close is it going to be to Maverick? Because the pricing isn't that far off from Maverick's base price. And if the size is comparable, is it going to cannibalize Maverick sales? Is it going to a different customer? Or are you going to be able to basically choose Ford's compact / midsize truck in either a gas or a electric configuration? So that'll be interesting to see. I don't know how the marketplace is going to respond. Are electric vehicles more palatable at a lower, cheaper price of entry? Let me know. truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. So if you're a 2024 or newer F-Series owner, you've probably been aware of the Ford Security Package. So the Security Package, which is around $8 a month or so, has a bunch of different features. It's basically an OEM theft prevention system that's embedded within the vehicle, so you don't have to go to an aftermarket system. And what it does is it can immobilize your Ford truck and prevent it starting no matter where it is in the world. And if the truck gets stolen, you can still shut it down with a kill switch, and Ford will still pay up to like $2,500 for your insurance deductible if that happens. So that's probably good news. I'm sure people are thinking, yeah, but what about being misused? Well, I guess that's possible, as with anything. But one of the interesting features is, let's say you leave your truck in the driveway, and you can prevent it from being started even if somebody has a key. So like if your kids are home having a party and your truck's in the driveway, or you go leave town, you can shut it down on the app. And or if you go to the airport, or if you leave it at a friend's house, or whatever. Think of all the situations where you're like, I don't know if I really want to leave my truck here. Downtown LA, parked outside because you couldn't find parking, and now you're on the street. So even with the key, you can tell the truck not to start, which I think is pretty cool. But of course, people are going to worry about the kill switch. Anyway, the point of this story is that now that is expanding across the rest of the lineup, so you'll start to see its availability on the 2026 Expedition, the Bronco Sport, the Mustang Mach-E, all that kind of good stuff. So what do you think? You know the email, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. Do you think a factory kill switch is a good idea? Do you think it'll be ripe for abuse? Or would you stay as far away from that as possible? I think it would be a great thing for all the Hellcats out there, to be honest. Maybe Stellantis should take note. So the Toyota Tacoma is coming home. Toyota just announced that they are spending $3.6 billion at the Texas plant to expand it, and they'll be moving Tacoma production back here to the United States. And they say that there will be 2,000 new jobs in San Antonio as a result of this. Toyota is saying that it should double the size of its Texas plant by 2030. And if you remember, about 5 years ago, it moved its midsize truck production to Guanajuato, Mexico. And so I think this is a huge deal for Texas. It's a huge deal for the United States. And it said they should be able to boost their overall production output by about 150,000 units annually. I think that's in addition to what they make now. So there'll be a lot of overhead. Toyota builds the Tundra and Sequoia there, so having another body-on-frame truck makes a lot of sense. And of course, Toyota says, quote unquote, by expanding our San Antonio plant, we are deepening our commitment to American manufacturing, creating meaningful and sustainable jobs while advancing our mission to deliver high-quality vehicles that meet the changing needs of customers today and to the future. What they don't say is that the U.S. declined to extend the USMCA agreement just days before this announcement was made. But I'm sure they probably had it planned just in case. They do say that since they broke ground on the Texas facility in 2003, that they've invested $8.3 billion. The site is 2,000 acres, has 23 on-site suppliers, and that the plant may ultimately employ 6,000 workers. So there you have it. Toyota's Tacoma is moving back to the USA for manufacturing. For you Rivian fans out there, Rivian has made some changes to the 2027 R1S SUV, including the most requested option that they've had so far. Can you guess what that is? It's second row bucket seats. And they've also essentially trimmed down and simplified their trim lineup. So now you only have 3 trims: premium, performance, and quad. Those are basically dual, tri, or quad motors, essentially what that means. So on the premium, which is the dual motor, it's 533 horsepower, 610 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds, and the range is 410 miles on the R1S. It's actually 420 on the R1T. Performance, which is the tri-motor, goes up to 850 horsepower and 1,103 pound-feet of torque. That does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds and has 371 miles of range. And then the quad, which is the Mac Daddy, that is 1,025 horsepower and 1,198 pound-feet of torque. It's crazy. 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds and about 10,000 miles on your tires. Actually, it's really respectable range, 374 miles. So if you're looking for a new Rivian, then the R1S for 2027, if you've got kids who like to fight in the back seat, you might want to check it out with those second row buckets, and or just go fast enough that you scare them silent. So Jeep has announced number 9 in the 12 for 12 drops, and I like this one a lot. This one is a little bit more fun, a little retro, and it gets away from some of the drab colors and gets a little bit old school. So the 2027 Jeep Wrangler Laredo, obviously if you're a Jeep fan, Laredo goes way back into the history books, and so this is a heritage-inspired special edition, no doubt about it. But they didn't just put a badge on a Wrangler, they've actually done a lot for personality. And if you remember, Laredo has been teased with the Easter Jeep Safari concepts, and it was one of our favorite ones there. So historically, Laredo has kind of been, it started at the end of the CJ era, and it has kind of been like that mix between like we're rugged, but we're going to give you a little bit more comfort, a little bit more style. It was sort of like more of an urban daily driver attempt at the Jeep with the CJ line without taking away the vehicle being capable and rugged. So when the CJ was replaced with the YJ in 87, Laredo continued on. I guess it was originally inspired by Laredo, Texas, and the American Southwest, which is pretty cool. So what is the Laredo for 2027? It's built on the Wrangler Willys, and it comes with the Extreme 35 package, which means that it has 35-inch BF Goodrich KO2 all-terrain tires on those cool split 5-spoke B-Lock capable wheels. And there's a 1-inch factory suspension lift. So stance-wise, it's awesome. And it's similar to how the XR package, the Extreme 35 package, or the 392 sits. You can get it in 2-door or 4-door configurations. So I like the 2-door. I love the 2-door with the 35 package. Honestly, if I didn't need all the things I needed to haul around and kids and all that, and it was just me, I would get that. That would be my daily. Especially if I get it with a stick. V6 stick, which they don't offer, they didn't for a while. 2-door 35s. Boom. It would be the half doors. Also have to have half doors. Anyway, 2-door or 4-door. And then it's pretty cool because it has more of like earth tones. There's striping that's in bronze. It comes with a goby colored grille, bronze tow hooks, bronze Jeep badging, bronze accent trail rated badge, and then Laredo graphics are on the center and the hood. And when you see it, it reminds you of Laredo's of past. And then there's a lasso style 4-wheel drive 4WD decal on the back, which is also pretty playful and fun. So again, going back to lighter colored roof to match that tan vibe on the older ones. And then you can also get the Sky One Touch power top still, and that'll be on 4-door models. And inside the cabin, it's more premium. So this is what I like about it. It's bison brown. Remember we were talking about one of the drops had the blue interior, and it would look really cool. This is like that as well. And it's not just brown on the seats. It's brown on the door panels, brown on the center console. It looks really, really fresh and really, really upscale. And it's got the extra bolstered seats from what I can tell from the photos. The bison brown just feels like richer and warmer on the inside. And it's not like that stark black. And the bison brown seats are actually Napa leather, so you're getting an upgrade in that. And you're getting heated power front seats. And then on the inside, the accents for the stitching are Mayan gold. And there's a couple little nods to the vehicle's namesake. So there's a plaque on the rear swing gate. It has the coordinates to Laredo, Texas. And then there's also an exclusive badge mounted on the center console. And the climate control graphic even gets a little change. If you know Jeeps, the climate control graphics have the picture of like the old Jeep icon. This one gets a cowboy hat. So that's kind of cool. So there's a lot of little Easter eggs and fun touches. I love the white or black with the bronze goby grills and the gold bronze accents and the tan top. It just looks really tasteful, and I think it's a fun way for them to have updated the Wrangler. It's funny, they took this really modern-looking vehicle, did the throwback, but it doesn't look old. It looks like really appropriate, so I'm a fan. Anyway, this one's going to be a 2027. You can order it later this month, and the MSRP is only $1,995 higher, $1,995 higher than a Wrangler Willys equipped with the Extreme 35 package. I think this is so much nicer and more upscale looking than the Willys. So I'm stoked on it. I would think this would be a great option for a lot of people. I mean, it looks better. You get the Napa leather seats, the tan roof, so it doesn't look like every other Wrangler out there. To me, that sounds like a winner. So anyway, if you want to check out the new 2027 Jeep Wrangler Laredo, you can check it out on the website for jeep.com. All right, let's get into some quick hits.
Quick hits. Quick hits.
I don't know why every time I play that, I'm like, let's go, quick hits. Arr! Like super weird radio voice. I don't know. I feel like it's metal. Quick hits. No? All right, let me get back to the news. So the GMC Savanna, you guys know it as the van that wouldn't die. The 2027, massive upgrade. Huge upgrade for 2027. the 2027 GMC Savanna is now going to get GMC Infotainment System 3 for the new model year. All right, that's enough. The new system is replacing the first factory touchscreen since the 2019 model year. Oh, man. So the new system gets a new RPO code of IOR. It's a 7-inch HD color touchscreen in the Savanna. Gets the Bluetooth phone connectivity, audio streaming, and will be applied across the entire lineup, including cargo, passenger, and cutaway models. I guess it's going to be a big upgrade. Like, how could it not be? So you get AM, FM stereo, MP3 compatibility, a digital clock, auxiliary audio input, and 2 speakers. I feel like we're going back in time. I want to talk about, like, this is like a huge upgrade, and it feels like this is an upgrade from like 10 years ago. However, it does have USB connectivity, Sirius XM compatibility, and no word on Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. I would be surprised since GM is starting to yank that from their cars if they would go, hey, here's a new upgrade in this and we're going to add it. So who knows? But it's pretty amazing that a vehicle that dates back to when I graduated from high school in 1996 is getting newsworthy updates today and is still in production. So go GM. And in other GM news, they are phasing out the Chevy brand in China. Not sure how much that affects you, but kind of an interesting side piece. And Jeep is going to delay the 10th 12 for 12 drop. It's been pushed back, and it's going to debut this weekend in Pigeon Forge at the Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. For those of you who like to know what the headlights behind you attached to those red and blue lights are, let's talk about the Ford F-150 Police Responder, which has been around for a few years now. That's Ford Special Services Vehicle Product, SSV. And 2027 model has a new variant. So there's the 2027 Ford F-150 Off-Road Special Services Vehicle, fleet only, offered only in Super Crew configurations. But this is what's cool. So obviously black fascia and bumpers, 18-inch alloy wheels versus Steely's, so that's kind of cool. 275/70 all-terrain tires, and it gets the 5-liter Coyote V8 as standard. The turbocharged 3.5-liter EcoBoost is an option, but it gets 4-wheel drive, 373s, and an electronic locking rear differential as well. So I think the coolest thing about this SSV package is it's essentially a Ford Tremor underneath, which includes their special off-road suspension. So it's got specially tuned shocks and coil springs, front stabilizer bar, 2-stage variable rate rear leaf springs, skid plates, and then all the drive modes. So that's going to be pretty cool if you're a cop and they order that truck for you. I'm guessing more for like fish and game and more rural stuff, but that sounds like a pretty awesome truck to have. I think if I were an officer, I would be down with that. And then one last interesting story is Bluebird is going to be taking over Ford's commercial strip chassis development. So Ford and Bluebird, and you know them, they make all the big school buses and things like that. They've been working together for a long time. They always have Ford chassis. And back in 25, they also debuted a strip chassis with a Ford V8. So now it's expanding because Bluebird has announced that they're going to resume responsibility for the design, manufacturing, and sales of the next generation Ford F53 and 59 commercial strip chassis. And then as part of that deal, Bluebird's going to be acquiring the Detroit assembly plant assets of Detroit Chassis LLC, which has been the company manufacturing the F53 and F59 strip chassis for some time. And then the next generation version will hit sometime in 2028. All right, before we go, let's check out the recall of the week.
Check engine light just went on. Noise under the hood ticks like a bomb. Recall covers metal, glass, leather, and plastic. Door handle pulled off in my hand. Just fantastic.
Okay, so this recall of the week is for 641 units of the 2026 Jeep Gladiator and Wrangler that are equipped with steel wheels. And the reason for this recall is some of the vehicles may have been built with steel wheels containing what the company calls a thin wall condition. So this defect could cause the wheel to crack or separate, potentially resulting in a loss of vehicle control and, of course, increases the risk of a crash or injury. The affected population includes only 35 Jeep Gladiator models produced between November 10th and November 15th, 25, 606 Jeep Wrangler models produced between November 10th and November 16th, and supplier and vehicle production records were used to identify these. The supplier is a company in Novi, Michigan called Maxion Wheels, and the part number is a 5VH22RXFAB. Of course, if you have one of those vehicles and you're affected, then you can head over to your dealer and they will do an inspection. And if you fall into that date range or those VINs, they'll replace the steel wheels and valve stems as necessary free of charge. If you want to go online, you can also check your VIN number. Recall is 05D, and customer service for FCA US, which is a subsidiary of Stellantis, is 1-800-853-1403. So there you go. Thanks for joining me on another episode, and please follow us on social at Truck Show Podcast, at Sean P. Holman. You can always email us, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. We'll read your emails on the air, and if you want to be part of the show, why don't you leave us a message at 657-205-6105 on the 5-star hotline. Don't forget that the current promotion with AMSOIL is an AMSOIL Rag 3-pack. If you spend $100 or more by $825, you use the code RAGS826. And if you go to OVR Magazine, OVRmag.com, you can use the code at Truck Show Podcast and get a discount. And please don't forget to leave us a review. I'm Holman, and I'm out.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis, hosted by Sean Holman, and uses production elements by DJ Omar Khan and Jay Tillis. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and leave us a 5-star review. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to support the show than by sharing it and patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.